The new set, Blossoming Fate, has been out for about 2 days now, guys, and you need to see this video because we are going to be taking a look at how the meta has completely flipped. We're seeing a rise in new archetypes. We're going to cover those decks. We're also going to take a look at what's still strong. So if you haven't got, for example, too many of the new cards and you're wondering what can compete, we're going to look at that. I'll bring you the card of the week as usual and all that good stuff. So let's dive straight on in. So starting with the card of the week, I have to say, guys, that World of Games has been absolutely everywhere. This card there's so many uses for it, right? Because whatever the curve looks like in your deck, you're always able to accelerate this thing. And if you play it on turn 1, it's just dirt cheap guarantee draw of 2 cards around the time when you're going to need them as well. So we're seeing this card absolutely everywhere. It's also helping that there's quite a lot of good aggro decks at the minute, so multiple 1-drops means that you can start to trigger it quite quickly. So don't be surprised if you get this played against you in almost every game, and given that it's a neutral card, it's probably a pretty safe craft as well. Okay, so moving on the rise, we are definitely seeing already hitting Grandmaster and multiple people posting win streaks and doing really well. A version of Aggro Sword. Yeah, that's right, guys. Swordcraft has probably 3 or 4 very powerful, viable decks right now. It's absolutely the class to play. People ask me all the time, which should I invest in if I'm just coming back or starting? I'd say Sword, because there's so many top tier decks. And this is the latest. We didn't really see Aggro Sword back in the previous set, but it is absolutely rocketing now. And one of the reasons is the brand new Illusion Raging Chariot. Now, this card is insane, guys. You can play it down for 7. Just leave it there on the board, don't need to evo it, and it does 7 AoE damage, so really nice clear. But obviously in an aggro deck like this, where you're pushing damage, this thing can come down and you evolve it, and it can do 3 lots of 7 damage. Now, that can go wrong. Insert me doing 21 damage to my own face. But obviously, the idea here is if you can get them down below 14, with no board, then essentially you're kind of banking on the kind of the 2-for-1 chance that you finish them off. This deck is really powerful, guys. Obviously, Kagemitsu means that you can super evo that and get comboed later in the game. And of course, if you it's kind of old school CCG, right? Just playing out on tempo, taking over the board early, and then just going face and putting on a shed load of damage. Lots of storm units here, and this is doing very well. Next up, we have got Big Ramp. That's right, guys. Dragon seems to finally be there, right? Touch wood. Come back in 2 weeks, and I'm going to have egg on my face for saying this, aren't I? But of course, the big boy himself, Ernst, has made an appearance. And interestingly, he hasn't kicked Genesis Dragon. Kind of goes quite well with Genesis, right? Because you can actually play Ernst as a defensive mode, so he can put the ward, the heal, and that gives you enough time for Genesis to come down and finish. This deck just is all about that ramp. You're looking for the early game in the Mega Lorca and the Dragon Sign, and also Sloth of the Crest Petal. I think this card's really good, guys. I know some people in the community have mixed feelings on it, but I think it's very, very good, and especially in Dragon, I think it really helps with the early game. And yeah, so basically we're ramping it into Zui or Galmeu, and then it is Evo time with Forte or Wilness, and then obviously the Super Evo. The big boys come in, and you just hit with bomb after bomb after bomb. So very, very powerful. Ernst is proving to be a very good card, right? You can use him offensively or defensively. So this is doing really well, and people are already hitting Grandmaster with it. Now, what do you play if you can't get many of the new cards? Maybe you don't have the money to collect them, or you've only got enough resource to kind of craft a few cards. I do think that the Lifestealer Mode Evo deck, which I just released a deck guide for, so go and check that out on my channel. It's a really good deck. It's very, very powerful. It actually does pretty good against all the aggro right now as well, because it's got lots of heal. And it introduces only one of the new cards, and that is Lifestealer. So you just need 2 copies of Lifestealer. And this card is actually pretty good, because not only does it give you yet another heal option, but basically it can transform things, which is quite a new ability in Shadowverse World Beyond. Being able to, for example, deal with something like a Lanthium is very powerful. So this is something I would recommend if you don't have too many of the new cards, or something like Loot Sword, which is still very, very strong. Yes, Tablet saw a nerf, but we have found new ways to draw through the deck. Things like Splendor of the Gold Boom, and of course the World of Games, this week's card of the week. giving you insane amounts of card draw. So this deck hasn't gone anywhere, guys. It's still really phenomenal. And yeah, people have hit Grandmaster already with it. So yeah, if you've not crafting too much new stuff, this is a deck to play. Now, one to watch. Got a couple of decks that I want to keep an eye on. The first one is around the card line call. Right now, I've seen various people, and I've played a bit with it myself as well, run the line call Wandering Fool OTK. Well, it's not an OTK, sorry. It's more like Death by 1,000 Cuts. It's really fun. It's really fun, but we haven't yet found the optimal version of it, I don't think. And so do I think this is going to end up being tier 1? Probably not, because I'm seeing a lot of aggro right now. But I think it could end up being quite a powerful deck still. Maybe somewhere in the as high as tier 2, maybe tier 3. But either way, it's definitely one to watch. Keep an eye on. Let's see how this deck evolves. What we do is Super Evo Line Call, and then we put 10 copies of it in our deck. And of course, if we've tableted first, then basically our deck's just full of Wandering Fools. And then every time we play one, it reduces the max HP of your opponent. So you're just chipping away, like I said, Death by 1,000 Cuts. And also, another thing that will be interesting to watch right now is the evolution of Haven. So we know we've got Ward and Crest, but we've also introduced what I'm calling Odd Haven, which is where you play all odd cards. This is one that I saw Toby playing around with on his stream, and he actually did pretty well with it. So I don't think it's yet the finished, fully refined list by any means, but it is pretty cool to see Haven, you know, evolving with new archetypes, and I'm really keen to see how Odd Haven develops over the weeks. So that's it for me, guys. Do subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date. I have got the full meta snapshot coming out in a few days. That's where we go through the full through 4 tiers, and I show you kind of all of the decks that are in the meta. So if you want to, if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe for me, press the like button. Let me know in the comments what you're enjoying in Blossoming Fate. I do think it's been quite an interesting expansion. It's not full of kind of meta bombs and obvious like power creeps. It seems to be quite subtle, and I'm quite impressed with the design. Whether it'll be super impactful or not, so far I think it is being, but we will see. Thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.